They took 35 sample precincts, and so far around 4 o'clock, there have been 17,681 folks that have cast their ballot this year, way ahead of 2020, which you can see that 14,207. But look at 2016, 17,933. So 2016 is looking very similar to 2024 in terms of the voter turnout. So in addition to those teachers, we saw several community members out here today wearing this exact color here, green. They're just sending their hopes and prayers that Sebastian returns home safely. Anyone with information on the McLean investigation should call Murfreesboro Police. And we wanted to take a closer look at the latest crime trends. And according to a report from the state on youth crime, the weapons that these youth are using, well, they're changing all the time. Detectives say they were able to find Jackie's body after Joe confessed. In fact, he was able to point them to the exact location on their DeKalb property for the sheriff's office to dig. From my view looking over the embankment, it doesn't look like too far of a drop, but in fact, it's 100 feet down to the river. So it would be terrifying if you fell down it or even had to climb it. So when you saw that it had that damage to it, what ran through your mind?
That this guy just mutilated our son.
If you were downtown or out near the airport today, you probably got caught in a bunch of traffic. That's because thousands of people packed inside the Music City Center to hear the Republican presidential nominee speak at the 2024 Bitcoin conference. Imagine waking up at 3:30 in the morning and all you hear is banging outside. You come out here and you see that there are multiple bullet holes in your front door. Based on surveillance video, police believe the suspect spent about 9 minutes inside the home. They got back into their car and took off from the scene. But detectives, they just could not get a clear reading of the license plate, so they're hoping the community can help. You can actually see some of the damage still here. I spoke to a witness who tried comforting the victims until first responders arrived. Most folks are just staying home, listening to officials, and I'm just gonna send a challenge out to everyone to bring out that inner kid and maybe, I don't know, make a snow angel. It's a lot of fun out here in this fluffy stuff, so I want to send that challenge over to Carrie and Rory. Yeah, Miss Shirley, I hope it was a great birthday, but 100 years old, Katie. The things you could have seen in 100 years, oh my gosh.
Yeah, when you mentioned the depression, I was like doing the math quickly in my head, like, oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely worth celebrating 100 years, but the forecast, little rain this morning, but that cleared out for people to get out and have some fun.
Austin was probably the sweetest kid I've ever met.
Austin David's family is left feeling traumatized after their loved one's body was recovered from I-40 near the airport Tuesday morning. Metro officers located Austin's body at 11:15 that morning, but said he could have been struck as early as 2. Metro Police confirm a woman did call 911 saying she saw someone on the interstate at exit 219 just before a man reported hitting a deer. I spoke to her on the phone. She wants to remain anonymous.
The car in front of us ran over something. It was like a speed bump. And we veered over to the left. And anyway, I looked, and there's where there was a body in the road.
She was on the way home from the airport a little before 2 a.m.
Condolences to his family and all. And people do care. And gosh, I do not know what to say, but I'm just terribly sorry.
New details in the investigation has led to the homicide unit joining forces with the fatal crash team. This comes after they impounded a damaged truck from this Hermitage apartment complex. Austin's family sharing these photos of it. Austin's stepdad, Harrison Reed, says someone pointed the family to the truck.
So when you saw that it had that damage to it, what ran through your mind?
That this guy just mutilated our son.
They're counting on detectives to get to the bottom of this investigation. Reed hopes police can figure out what happened to his stepson and why his body was left on the interstate.
At this point, they're the resource. We can't make an arrest. We can't bring somebody to trial. They're going to have to do their due diligence and collect their evidence, get their information, get their ducks in a row, and nail this guy.
In Nashville, Aaron Cantrell, News Channel 5.
I'm gonna try to do something with this ball on this ink pen here.
These ministers are from all over Nashville.
You got to get to the flip side to find out what's on the flip side.
And they all have a story about rebounding in life.
And I got snatched up by the street life. And I ended up using drugs, started selling drugs.
I was the leader of the Bloods, South 8. I lost my son about a year ago.
I experienced very aspects of growing up in the hood of, dealing with drugs and experiencing prison life and coming out.
Larry Powell has lost 3 children within a short time frame.
This is my son, Jawantes. He was killed at North Nashville. This is Malia. Malia was 14 years old. She was killed at Walmart on Dickerson Road. She was stabbed 9 times with a Letterman knife. This is my son, Jaquel. He committed suicide in February of this year.
So knowing we don't take this lightly, we understand what it's like to walk in oneness.
But they all came out on the other side with a newfound respect for life and their faith. They're trying to reach those still caught up in that lifestyle.
If God can save us, he can save them.
So they're asking the community to join them for a revival next month.
You got tattoos, you gang related, stand in the gap. If your son is in prison, if your son is in juvenile, we want you here for such a anointing word from guys that have been trained by God.
To change the way their minds think.
Yeah, there you go.
Knowing you don't have to dribble down a dark path.
Guns down, no more overdoses.
Each of these men have walked that path and are true examples of what it truly means to flip your life around.
Yeah. I'm here to fight for those who died, was killed, sent to the penitentiary, for those who are still out there. I'm fighting for them all.
In Nashville, Cantrell, News Channel 5.
This is the cemetery community.
If the land under Vincent Windrow's feet could speak.
As I learn more and allow my imagination to run, I can hear the students running around here.
It would tell you many stories about the cemetery community dating back to the late 1800s.
And this was all black, historically all black, all this. As a matter of fact, if you go back to Old Nashville Highway and go a quarter of a mile, that's where I was born.
Inside this weathered building,
this is the Murfreesboro Cemetery School.
Was where Windrow's ancestors,
my mom, attended here.
And other black children learned.
The first one was like in 1874, so right after the Emancipation Proclamation, but they kept building. And then finally, they built this with these cinder blocks in 1941, and it's been standing ever since. These are the desks that my mother and her fellow students sat at. They wrote and carved their initials on the desk.
Are there still some initials in
yes.
there?
Yes, absolutely, which is really crazy, right?
That is.
And it's super cool at the same time. This is her first grade report card, 1951, 1952 school year. Oh, okay. She got S's and S pluses.
S is what, satisfactory?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Satisfactory progress.
That's so much history right here.
So much history.
Over the years, the school has served as a storage space.
Mattresses and tires and a pool table.
Now Windrow is planning to turn this school into a museum on one side and the gathering place on the other.
We've been checking off all the boxes, and so now it's on the list of historic buildings. Now there's a 501c attached to it.
Refusing to allow anyone to throw dirt or bury this piece of the past.
By summer 2027, all of this should be done.
In Rutherford County, Cantrell, News Channel 5.